So here we are in the fresh scene. What I want to do now is to actually model something to show you the workflows. So basically there are just few types of modeling. There is box modeling, which means starting from some basic shape, like a box or a sphere or a cone. Okay. There is point-to-point modeling, which is sometimes really suitable when you have reference images. I will show that technique also. And there is an extrude agent, like a hybrid technique, which is really useful also when you have some reference images, and that's basically it. So in this lesson I will show you how to model a hand. Well, actually what I want to do is to reference the techniques to show you really how to start, how to model something. Okay, you see I have this world axis here enabled. Okay, I can turn it on and off. Really doesn't matter. Okay, well, to start modeling process, we will create a simple cube or a box. And let me convert that with my C button. And since modeling is, well, you always go for a basic shape first. So we want to scale down that future hand we are trying to model here. And well, I prefer my models to lie exactly on this grid, because sometimes this grid can be very helpful where you are positioning your model. So I'll just put my axis all the way down here on the bottom. Okay, so structure, axis center, and I will put it as -100 on Y and hit execute, and it will drop right on the bottom. So now when I put 0 here, my object will lie exactly on that grid. Okay? So the first thing you want to do is go to edge mode and really plan ahead your surface. For example, I would love to have fingers extending from this area here, and I will probably create a thumb on this side here. So what I want to do is really to select this ring of polygons and simply connect them once, twice. So now I have 4 faces here, which is really a, let's say, a starting point for my fingers. The next thing is I want to go to my live selection tool and select these faces here. Okay, so I just want to extrude inner these faces a bit, because there is always, if you look at your hand, there is always a space in between your fingers. Okay, so I'll just extrude it a bit inwards. You see, if I now extrude this, while this preserve groups is enabled, I will extrude them all in one go. Okay, so let me undo that. I want to extrude each of these faces separately, because fingers are separate. So let me extrude them a bit. And now I want to hit my extrude tool and really extrude those polygons, let's say to some reasonable distance. Okay, something like this. We're not going here for a superb hand. It's details come in later. And naturally I want to extend some of these fingers more. So for example, this, I believe it's called the pinky finger. It's smaller than other fingers, and let's say this middle finger is the longest. Okay, and I believe that, well, it depends. You will have to use your artistic sense, or look at your hand. For example, I think this finger is a little bit smaller in distance than this one. So basically now you have some really rather basic shape of the finger. And since you are going for the nice roundness that you will be achieving with these subdivision surfaces, so let's now put this under hypernerves. And I'll just enable this isoparms mode. Okay, let me turn off my generator. Now, as you can see, we will have to add more geometry because this way this subdivision is rather unpredictable. Okay, so to have a consistent flow of meshes of edges, let's go to our edge mode and once again UB ring selection tool. Once again connect them once more and also on this finger. So let me concentrate just on this finger. Okay, so now what you want to do is actually, let's go to our top view and again enable this current shading here, and I want to cut this finger on the places where in my loop mode, of course, I will deselect all. I really want to cut those fingers where the knuckles are, where the joints are. So for example on this index finger, I believe it's index finger, well the joint is somewhere around here and another joint is somewhere around here, and I want to define the area where the nail will come. Okay, so somewhere around here maybe. So don't look so much at the artistic side, rather look at the techniques. Okay, so let me enable my generator. Now as you can see our finger is still quite a bit boxy. I should say it's like really not smooth and curved as it should be. So let me go here and now I can simply grow my selection. I'm using shortcut keys and now I want to iron all this finger. So MG and I will iron it all the way. Okay, let me see what I have now if I enable my generator. Now it looks even better. Okay, so let me concentrate just on this finger a bit. Now what I want to do is, well, if you look at this area, okay, where the nail should come, let me just scale that bit inwards and put it a little bit down. Okay, I want to inner extrude this again, but now I want to preserve groups. Okay, let me undo that. You see, just a little happy accident. And now I want to move it a bit inwards, so I have a place from where my nail will grow. And always go switch back and forth from your hypernerves and non-hypernerves. Okay, so you'll exactly know what is happening. So what I want to do now is, if you look at your nail, there is no straight line here, rather it's a roundness that goes a bit like here. So I can simply slide these points a bit. Okay, I'm not trying to create a perfect finger here, just I want to just show you how you will use all those techniques that we learn. Okay, let me extrude this a bit upwards and let's see, we have some basic nail here. I will just slide this point a bit down. Okay, so that I can extrude these two faces. For example, if I now extrude like this, simply scale it a bit on the Z, I'll have some basic nail. Okay, So now it's all about adding detail. So now, for example, I want to select these loops, and if you look at your finger, you will see there is a not regular surface right here. Those loops is a bit inverse. It goes inverse. So go to my scale tool. You can now help yourself with the modeling axis here, and simply go all the way on the y-axis. And now when you scale this, it will scale the bottom part inward. Okay, and you will notice that there is not much geometry here, so you have to create additional loops to really represent that event. Okay, we undo that. So you want to create another loop here, for example here, and now if you select this middle loop and simply scale it, you will get a more decent representation. Okay, so do the same action here. There is this first joint. So again, once again we will select the loop, and we're simply refining that shape. Okay, so you want to maybe even scale that joint. Okay, it's all about refining the shape. For example, now let me see here. I want to deselect these only visible elements. Why? Because I want to select all with my rectangle selection. You maybe want to scale this area a bit. Okay, so now when you do a basic shape, you want to refine that shape. Okay, so for example, I want to pull these points a bit upwards. Okay, so this area appears more smooth. Okay, you can basically take a look at your hand and simply refine that shape. Okay, I don't think there is much sense for me to model every finger. It's basically all now refining. You will add loops, you will add geometry. Okay, and you're just simply trying to get the closer you can to that shape of the hand. Okay, so simply add additional loops and add some natural variation. For example, with magnet tool, some somewhat bigger radius, let's say 200. Now, see, you can create variations. Okay, and maybe you want to restrict this magnet tool to a surface, so you will enable this surface. So if you want to manipulate this finger only, it will just move that surface. Okay, I think this is quite enough to really get you going on this modeling techniques. Okay, so now you have a reference. Look at your hand, just simply try to follow that shape. Okay, try to make those basic contours and add more detail as you go. It's not really a problem. Okay, I think that wraps it up for a hand modeling. Now, I almost always, let me select this loop here and fill this selection. I almost always model hands and feet and ears separately, because often they need much more geometry when you want to connect them to the rest of the mesh. So once you have your hand modeled and your body part modeled, then you will utilize that multi-bridge technique. So you will basically also utilize stepping up and down in geometry, because I'm almost zillion% certain that your hand will have much more geometry than your forearm. So you will basically search the options and manually patch up things, and also look that is all quads to have the exact same number of vertices. Okay, so then you can create a simple bridge operation with stitch and sew tool. Okay, and then we will just simply smooth it out with iron tool or brush tool in smooth mode, so you get a nice clean transition. Okay, what would I also strongly recommend? Don't use this difficult task for your first modeling purposes. Go with most simplest object first, because this can be a quite challenging for beginners. I just wanted to show you how do you start, what techniques to use, what are the most simplest solution. Okay, so let's go to our next example.